right, stand by. Roll sound.
Speed.
Roll camera.
Reading.
Slate.
Scene 1, take 1. Mark.
And action.
All right, it's time for some action today here. Let's get things rolling for That's a Wrap. It's not a wrap yet. It's sort of like a wrap, like we're going to wrap today here, and then at the end it's a wrap. Maybe that's what it all is.
Yeah,
but
maybe we could say like it's a wrap, and then at the end we'll say that's a wrap.
I like
We
that.
could go with two names, Paul. I like that.
I like it. It'll evolve here. Well, welcome to Steve Cederquist, contractor known to many and far from his many years on Flip or Flop, and now man about town, bon vivant. Where I can't even keep up with where you go. Every time I look at your Facebook feed, you must be the most popular guy in town. You are everywhere and all the places at once. Yeah?
I am. You know, it's funny. I get it.
He doesn't even deny it, Siege.
No, I do. I get invited everywhere. It's I support a lot of causes. And let's see. On Saturday night, I was with Deborah Lassie and her group for Face Forward. And we were up there in Los Angeles.
And what's Face Forward? I don't know what Face Forward is.
Face Forward is an organization that, like, let's say you're a victim of domestic violence, or you got beat up or robbed, whatever the case is, and not just in this country, in other countries where they maim people and things like that.
Yikes, yeah.
And what Deborah and her team do, they go through and they actually rebuild you not only from the outside with their group of plastic surgeons, her husband, David, but they do it from the inside. I mean, yeah, honestly, wow. you come out and they work with you on, mending yourself or your confidence and things like that. I have a friend who got that's what happened to her. Her husband, beat her up beyond pulp and left her to die.
Oh.
And Deborah and her team came in, and that's how I met them. And I'm a huge supporter of them.
So they rebuild you on the outside and then work their way in, so you regain your confidence to go out in the world again here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
wow.
It's a great event. We, we had Kelly Osbourne out there. We had.
Is she as cool as she looks? She just seems like a really cool person here.
Kelly is a friend, and she's a good person. She's a really, really good person, and just an amazing human being. And I really like the causes that she does.
Let's get her on the show sometime. Let's get.
You know
Kelly
what? I actually may. I actually saw her on Sunday. We did another event that she sponsors, called the I Love Me Foundation, which is a big supporter of the LGBTQ. But it's for bullying and sex trafficking.
Are you any of those letters in there? LGBTQ.
You know what? I am. I love everybody.
Okay.
My feeling is that's why you never see me on Facebook ever do anything that's. I never get involved in controversy or religious politics, nothing like that, and especially all this new angry stuff going on with the NFL. I just, people.
We live in an angry world. That's where everything's angry these days.
Yeah.
And you're peace and love. You're a throwback.
I am peace and love. But tonight we're going to be up at the Tiglion again. I got invited to. We're going to have actually an event for celebrating Chuck Liddell in his wonderful years.
Oh, with the MMA.
With the MMA, yeah. We got a personal invite and through Dana White, and we're going up there with our team. So we're looking forward to it. Tarek, I hope you're listening, because I invited Tarek to go with us as well.
A little shout out to Tarek from Flip or Flop.
Oh, yeah, we love Tarek. Tarek's awesome. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay. Well, I can't keep up with it. I just wait every time you come in here to update us, because you're all over the place. Who you got with you today?
I have Christina Ignatius.
Where do you find these beautiful women everywhere? You're just a magnet for beautiful women.
Come on, Steve. I thought you knew how to pronounce my last name.
Did I pronounce it wrong?
Yeah.
How did I pronounce it wrong?
It's Ignatius, like Saint Ignatius. Her name is everywhere on churches and schools.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
he probably wasn't raised a good Catholic boy like I am.
I was going to say I'm not a good Catholic boy. Hey, we were a good Catholic. We went to church together years ago.
Did you really?
Yeah, we actually. Yeah, that's how we know each other.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, we've been friends ever since.
I'm the straight-laced lawyer.
She is. She's not only is she a lawyer, but she does law school tutoring. She deals with these people that can't seem to make it past the bar, whether she's.
There's a lot of.
I don't know. I mean,
50% failure rate in the state of California. Come on, yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's her tagline. I mean, I think that she, that's what she goes after. I think she goes like, look, if you want to be one of those statistics of the 50%ers, then go ahead. But if you actually want to pass, then you'll go to me. She's extremely smart, beautiful, super intelligent, and then she's also an amazing attorney who does a lot of work, like on cases like really intriguing cases like wrongful death, things like that where she can really get her teeth around, you know. And
Human interest cases.
Yeah, human interest.
Not
Well-
just corporate. Or
Well, I started off on one of those $30 to $40 million lawsuits for a very large company.
Wow.
So I do place myself on the big cases, so it can be both sides.
Do you win?
Yes. Well, actually, what we do is if we're on the defense side, we try to get rid of the causes of action, right? Get the case dismissed. That's the ultimate goal for the client. So that's what we did. We went to trial on one of them, and the trial was so long. I mean, some people, if you're in crim law, let's say you have a crim law issue, somebody might go to jail. Sometimes their trials are shorter than what I've gone through.
Really?
Unbelievable.
Because it's kind of
like
straightforward. You either got the evidence or you don't have the evidence. I mean, it
Yeah.
doesn't go on for 6 months trying to explain
Well, let me ask
what
you a
it
question.
is. Yeah.
I have an attorney. His name's Doug Vanderpool with Vanderpool Law Firm in Seal Beach.
Okay.
And
Little
Doug is-
shout out to Doug there.
We love Doug. Doug's cool. Doug's my buddy.
Send your
And,
sponsorship check to courtesy of.
Yes, Doug. Remember that when you send me your invoice for this month. But no, what Doug. Doug's the kind of guy I guess you'd like on your side because I don't know if you're like this or not, but he won a big case against Mercury Insurance. He got Litigator of the Year last year, and he said, he said the only thing that really just kind of took away my whole zest for winning the case. He goes, we walked outside, opposing counsel fainted, and he goes, I had to step over her lifeless body.
Oh.
And I was like, I'm so glad this guy's on my side.
Wow.
Are you like this? Are you like a real, so you look all nice and pretty, but do people make that
know.
mistake with you?
They do, kind of. And I think I've been posting a little bit about that on Facebook, is that I kind of look like I am a very, very approachable person. I am friends with a lot of people.
We got to
and
get you to approach the mic a little
Unless
bit more.
they're not-
Let's pull the mic a little bit closer to there.
There we
Yeah.
go.
So-
So I am very, very approachable, very, very nice. Always thought I would stick to my roots the way I was raised. And I was raised by phenomenal parents who said, put everyone before yourself.
Did you go to Catholic school?
I went to a very strict private Christian school, actually, here in Orange County,
you
and it was missionary based. So it is primarily service, right? Mm-hmm. So you get into the legal field, and then sometimes you almost feel a little bad that you're charging so much money for things, right? And
Do you feel
so-
bad when you're starting the car up and yet your nice expensive car? Do you feel
Yeah,
bad?
yeah.
Do you?
Yeah,
I
it
don't
was
think
my-
I don't think Doug feels that way. I think Doug feels good. He's like, I think Cederquist paid for this.
I'm sure that's why you should hire me, because
Okay.
I'm stuck in this weird position where I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I have all this knowledge, I can help so many people. How do I now help the masses, right? Because I started this tutoring program, and it first started on my campus, then it went to LA, then it went to San Francisco, and now it's nationwide. And the only way for me to pull that off was to be on the internet, so they could find me. But first year students really have to do a search for me, or to think maybe there's a law school tutor out there. It's an uphill battle to try to be on 200 campuses.
Are you tutoring
Right.
them through the 3 years of law school or
That's
or
a
the
good
bar?
question.
Right.
So to say I'm a bar tutor is kind of not really understanding the grasp of what I can do. And I started off as a law school tutor. That was the niche, because I actually thought law schools were not taking enough responsibility in pushing their students. Professors can be a little relaxed. They're spending time on research. They're not making themselves available. They're not catching all the mistakes.
Is that just Whittier Law School? Because I heard that they
No.
had a bad reputation. Is that true? Because they closed down, right?
Yes, and then there's another one over here.
Whittier Law
in
School is
Irvine.
closed down now?
Yes.
The whole thing,
Oh, I didn't know
the
that.
whole-
Yeah,
It's right
and
around the corner here.
The professors are suing the school too, because if you think about it, everyone had their hand in that pot, right? So the professors rely on the board, and then the students rely on the professor. So you have this miserable triangle here where the people at the very top might make a lot of money off of tuition, but they're not making sure that the students are getting value. And so when I went through law school, I had a heads up, basically, because I was a paralegal before law school. I worked in law firms. I knew what I wanted to do. It wasn't as hard for me. And so my first year, my grades were excellent, just way above everyone else's, top 5%. And so I gained that leverage. And that's the year when your job depends on your first year grades. It's insane. And they still ask for your grades, even if you're out in the field practicing
Really?
several years.
Well, they want to know. It's just like I mean, a grades can tell a lot, right? I mean, right? I mean,
exactly. But
if you're
if
out
you
partying
think about
and drinking and not studying, it's going to show in your grades.
Can I share one thing, though? I went to law school a million years ago. I only lasted a year. I hated every minute of it. I went to William and Mary back in Williamsburg, Virginia.
Okay.
And the first year I did well. I was in the top 10%.
There
But
you go.
what I found the most, I can give you lots of reasons why I hit law school. One thing to address your point is, they teach it differently than they do in college. It's the Socratic method. So it's a question and answer, question and answer. And then at the end, you take one test.
One test.
One
Yep.
test.
One
so
test.
you have no clue where
Yep.
you are. You think you got it, and all of a sudden the test comes out and you go, I ain't got it.
Yep.
Well, isn't that the whole point of being a lawyer, though? Because you want to, like, I mean, to me, I'm not an attorney. I just pay big money for my
You just
attorneys.
play one on TV here, right?
I just do it on TV
You want your
occasionally.
lawyer to have it slam dunk, just
Well,
one test in front of them, and to
Well, do you?
see.
I mean, do you want to do that, or do you want? I mean, isn't that maybe that one test kind of designed for like you to think on your feet, kind of be a little bit out of the box?
But in
because
college, you get tested along the way, so you have some idea. Am I grasping this material? Am I understanding it?
Exactly.
And you adjust. Here, you think you got it all dialed in, and then you take this massive test at the end, and you go, "Oh man, I guess I missed it," because nobody is. I don't know how you gauge yourself along the way.
That's where I came in.
Cool.
Because I saw that loophole and gap with students. And it wasn't necessarily that they were purposefully trying to say, we don't need a tutor, we don't need a tutor. Some people think that, and then all of a sudden they call me in January crying. And I'm thinking, why can't we just think ahead and plan our calendar? Like, plan out your life a little bit better, right?
You're asking for people to be responsible.
Yes.
And kind of like,
Yes.
I don't know that.
Well,
I don't
and
know.
they think
That's
that
radical.
they're
That's
responsible.
kind of
Here's the
is that a
deceiving
millennial
part.
thing? I don't know. I don't think millennials think like that
The
anymore.
deceiving part about this is that they call me and they say that they were responsible, that they spent 3-5 hours a day reading and briefing and getting prepared to be called on in class. And that was kind of the problem where I think law schools failed, is that they focused so much on calling on you in class that the students then focused on it. So whatever the law school focuses on,
Yeah,
the
that's true.
students mimic that. So now they're just reading, and they're sweating it, thinking, I'm going to get called on. What if I sound like I don't understand things?
Because people don't understand. Again, what I found strange is when I went to the University of Michigan, I was an honor student, all this stuff, and it was, you had a certain amount of material to absorb, to learn, to memorize, whatever you want to say, and then you spit it back on the test, and that measured how well you grasped it. But in law school, people think you're memorizing the law. You're not memorizing the
No.
law. You're learning how to. You're learning principles in the law, and you're trying to learn to apply them to cases
Yes.
and to make a decision. And so they go through this inquisitive process, but they never tell you whether you're right or wrong, because there's sort of no right or wrong until the test comes along. Then you go, oh, I guess I didn't grasp it.
I
Yeah.
took business law for one semester. Does that count for anything?
No, not at all.
I did well.
So
Yeah.
it's a very, if you're not prepared for that transition, it's a whole different way of learning. I guess that's
Yeah.
my point. And you have no idea how you're doing until yes, they question you in class, but they question, and they basically just belittle you and try and tear you down. That's the whole idea, to challenge you constantly. I found that very weird. It's a very odd way to teach. I guess it works because they've done it forever, but it's totally different than the way you learn in high school and college.
So how do you, let me ask you a question. So when you go, like you offer law school tutor, do you do it online, or do you actually go to their house, kind of like old school tutor? Or?
No, wouldn't that be a strain on my resources, right?
Yeah,
If I
fly
was
around the
trying to go-
country.
Could you imagine? And then some random weird person might just
Yeah.
try to invite me to their home. And
That's
then,
what I was gonna ask
And then
you.
I end up on Dateline, right?
You might. You might. What have you ever? I mean, let's get into that. Have you ever had any like weirdness? Like, were you? Like,
I've had strange emails where people send me an email almost like I'm a inviting challenge. Like it. I wonder if on the other end it's a male lawyer who failed at something, and he sees a woman and he thinks, I can't believe that she's doing that, and I'm gonna just write on my laptop. But here's
what
a
did
good
they
story.
do? What did they do?
Did you ever get any nude tweets from Anthony Weiner? No, that's
No.
probably a different thing.
Yeah.
I did get some strange emails in there. Is it you? Are you doing it?
Well, you know,
Steve's been doing it.
honestly,
Just
yeah.
testing you.
He's like,
Honestly,
I want to mess
folks,
with this girl.
yes.
So, here's a good story. When I first started the program and I was local here in Orange County, I got a startling email from someone who said they addressed it because it wasn't really that widely known that on my website that I was the person behind it. So you saw my image, but you might have thought it was stock photo. And not a lot of people who look at me think that I'm the lawyer and I'm the one rescuing everyone from their bad grades.
Right.
Right? You might picture a lawyer to look like something else, which is ridiculous because being a lawyer is all about your mind, right? Internal.
All the girls in my law school look like Ruth Ginsburg, the Supreme Court Justice.
Yes.
Nice lady, but not
Yes.
somebody you're going to take out on a date for probably or something.
No. So I had my photo up there, and there was some debate as to whether or not that would give me an advantage or a disadvantage. And so I played with it a little bit where I didn't say this is the founder and this is the tutor, and it was just a photo. And somebody sent me a nasty email saying, hey guys, almost as if it was addressed to men, that some men would have been behind this brilliant idea to tutor law school students. Hey guys, I just want to let you know that the fact that you're using a photo of a cute girl in order to get law school students to sign up is ridiculous. She looks neither smart nor serious.
Oh, wow.
And I pulled
Of course
up
you bit. Of course you bit, right? And you responded? I can see
no.
your fingers are already moving.
I don't respond with anger because I feel like that won't get the point across. It would have been funny if I said, no problem, we'll just let the founder know that you don't like her photo. That would have been really funny, I think. But
Hindsight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? But I just wrote back and I said, well, thank you so much for your opinion, right? And I left it at that, and I moved on. But I was really curious to know who was behind the email. And it's interesting when people contact me, maybe from a law school email or from something else, I was able to figure out, I was tutoring so many students at that campus that they were able to pull up the student handbook, and they just kicked it over to me. I didn't release the information over to them, right? But they kicked it over to me, and I looked, and it was another blonde woman, middle-aged woman, who critiqued another blonde woman.
Was she ugly? Come on.
I don't know.
Come on. It's
on,
just
you
us
had-
listening.
And
Just
I
us.
You had to have looked. You probably
Just
went,
us.
you know what? You're just not as good looking as me, and that's why you're angry. You're bitter. Angry, bitter woman.
I forget if she was smiling in her photo, but I thought, why do you use it against somebody that you smile in a photo? Because lawyers can still smile. We're still people.
But she just thought you were an actress that was just presenting the face just to
yeah,
attract all these
it probably looked a little bit
lonely
like
little
stock
law
photo.
students here.
That's what I think.
I
is
would
that she
trust you. I
assumed-
mean, if I was in a court, my only thing, I mean, if you probably, like, if you did anything like put like a diamond in your tooth or something and you smiled at me, I'd be like, oh, wait a minute. This could get really ugly quick.
it could.
It could.
It
Absolutely.
could.
But that is a good point. There are a lot of people think lawyers are supposed to be kind of funny-looking little trolls that just live in books and are going to eat a bug if they
Those are my
can't.
old
Yeah.
attorneys.
Did you see The Big Short? Did you see that movie?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see when he brought on the Asian kid to do his stats, and there was a lot of stereotyping and assuming that the Asian kid, I think he had glasses on, just hammed it up in that stereotype that this is going to be the genius guy behind everything.
Exactly.
Because he's Asian, right? And I have seen Asian people say they give us way too much credit sometimes. That we're stereotyped as being very educational, and then we're going to be on top of it.
Right.
They are.
See, Steve buys that.
They
Steve
are.
buys
No,
that.
I'm serious.
All of them?
Well,
All
no,
of
I'm not
them?
saying all of them. No. But a lot of the Asian well, okay, I'm talking about students. Most of the Asian students that I know, which I don't know a lot. I know a lot more Asian people in the entertainment industry. But students always seem like, when I go to my friends' houses or something, their kids are always just like studying.
Well,
and
it's a studious culture. They
Yeah.
push their kids to be students. And clearly,
Absolutely.
if you look at UC Irvine, for example, like 30 or 40% of the campus is Asians, not 30 or 40%
And I went
Asian in
there.
Orange County. Did you? So,
I did.
again,
And I tiger mommed myself, I think is what the problem
you
was.
were tiger momming yourself.
Yeah.
Nice. Very cool. So what's so right now how many students do you have right now?
So right now, school is just starting back up. So we are in the phase of letting students know who we are.
Okay.
So that's the first phase. And so we're on campus. I think we were over counting now over 100.
Do you tutor all the different classes? You do contracts
Torts,
and
contracts, civ pro, con law, crim law.
Ooh, I love all these little acronyms.
Wow, so you're pretty up on all this stuff. I mean, you would be a great attorney to hire because you're really up on
everything across the board. I mean, if you think about it, some attorneys went through the bar once, and then they probably ditched a lot of that information.
Most attorneys do that.
Yeah.
They focus on one little niche. They can't remember it all.
Exactly.
Well, you would think, I mean, and also, you know, a lot of the attorneys that I know, not you, Doug, don't worry, I'm not picking on you.
No.
But a lot of them defer, I should say, to their legal assistants and things like that for research and case study and things like that. Versus you're in it all the time, right? So
in
you're
it all the time.
Yeah,
all the time. And so what's happening this summer, which it shocked me that these issues would come to me, but maybe it shouldn't be that shocking because so many people know me. But I was approached recently about an appellate court decision on what to do with the homeless here in Orange County. And that's a big deal because if we try to challenge it, does that mean that I could be arguing in front of the U.S. Supreme Court? You know what, you could. You know what we could do is we're going to go to break, but what we're going to do when we come back, I really want to touch base on that, on the homeless issue, because, you know, it's funny. It's a big issue with a lot of the events that I do and stuff. And then yesterday I was driving up the 57, and I've been reading a lot of stuff with Anaheim, and you know, I'm going up. I mean, all these different cities.
All the encampments there along the river and everything.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's talk about it when we come back.
Perfect.
Okay, cool.
Imagine what it would feel like to lose everything. Your job, your home, your family, your dignity. This has happened to thousands of the men, women, veterans, and young adults we serve at Working Wardrobes. What do we do to help? We provide career development services, life skills workshops, job skills training. We provide the perfect interview outfit, and we get clients placed in jobs. Call Working Wardrobes, 714-210-2460. Donate, volunteer, invest, hire.
When it comes to pioneers in their respective industries, we all know the Apples, Starbucks, and Trader Joe's of the world. In the realm of recruiting, Decision Toolbox is the industry's best-kept secret, with 90% of their business from referrals and repeat customers. For over 20 years, Decision Toolbox's U.S.-based team of recruiters, sourcers, professional writers, quality personnel, and tech support has perfected a Six Sigma approach to talent management. No matter the size of the project, Decision Toolbox delivers incredible results. A cost per hire less than half of what contingency firms charge, with the winning candidate presented in an average of 14 days, all with a 12-month candidate warranty. With results like that, Decision Toolbox won't be a secret for long. Visit us at www.dtoolbox.com for more information. Imagine buying a newspaper and discovering that the news you're reading is 6 months old. There isn't much that stays the same for 6 months, and the same thing goes for background checks. In a time when so much outdated information is being passed around, it's good to know that People G2 offers something different. At People G2, we provide today's intelligence, not yesterday's news. Our value-added approach offers you a fully FCRA-compliant solution that includes up-to-the-minute information. By combining industry-leading technology with old-school human investigation, People G2 is able to give you information that is accurate right now, delivered quickly through our online system, or integrated with your HR system. So ask yourself, are you comfortable working with old news, or are you ready for a different kind of background check company? Visit peopleg2.com or call 800-630-2880. That's 800-630-2880 or peopleg2.com.
All right, we're back. It's not quite a wrap yet. It's still the rap part of the rap. If you're following, I'm lost. Is a rap R-A-P or a rap like W-R-A-P? It's just the rap. Okay. So everybody's looking at their, checking in with their smartphones, and while they're doing that, remind you, who's your guest again here today?
Christina.
And my last name?
He doesn't want to try it. He messed it the first time.
I messed it the first time.
He just says Christina.
Like St. Ignatius Church.
Ignatius. There, did I get it right?
Who was St.
Ignatius.
Ignatius? St. Ignatius was what? He was a soldier that became a martyr, or what? I'll have to go look. I'm trying to remember the story of St. Ignatius. Now everybody carries the little medals of St. Ignatius. Who was St.
We'll
Ignatius?
research it when we get off.
All right, I'll look on the
I know.
outline here.
You guys both don't know?
I don't know. I don't know. I
don't
know of the name, but
You
I don't.
seem like a good Catholic boy there, Paul. I don't know. I'm surprised.
I am a good Catholic, but I'm shocked. I'm going to go look it up on Google while you're talking here.
Yeah,
So.
you were busy studying the law there in that time. And
No.
you didn't
More
do that.
More important thing.
So we were talking about right before the break. We picked up the homeless thing. I mean, that's a huge red flag right now. I mean, like I'm saying, red topic. How do you say
Hot
that?
topic.
Hot topic.
Hot topic. You know, and I was doing some forums the other days, watching the kind of people banter back and forth, and yeah, it's a really tough thing right now, because you've got, like, in Fountain Valley, over there by the Costco, they have that storage unit there, and they had like 20 people, or 20 motorhomes got broken into this past weekend, and it's all right next to the homeless encampment. And their first thing they do is they blame the homeless, saying, "Oh, it's all them, and it's the, and it's something." And you're looking at the posts and the comments, and some people are like, they want to get, like, get to the root of it. They're saying, we closed down all our state hospitals back in the day, back in this, late 70s.
Yeah, threw them out in the
80s.
streets.
Threw them out in the streets, and now we've got this issue with homelessness, and I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys. I mean, you obviously know more about it, but it seems like it's economic, because the rents are atrociously high right now everywhere, and the wages aren't keeping up with the rents, and it's just I think a lot of people are one paycheck away from being homeless. I mean, I know people that live check to check.
Surprising number of people in this county, for what's generally perceived to be an affluent county. We had the head of United Way in here. They've made it a real priority with the United Way. They really want to cut it in half, I don't know, within some period of time, the amount of homelessness. We've had very Republican-leaning organizations in here, like the Association of California Cities. We've had others that are more Democratic or liberal groups out here, or church-based groups. And I'm surprised they all seem to rally around this cause. This isn't one that seems to divide people in this county. It's one that, whether you look at it from an economic standpoint, hey, look at the amount of resources it takes to police are spending, picking these people up repeatedly, and then what did they do with them?
Are they doing it still, though?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, are they still moving? Because I heard it was against the law to do that.
Well, they used to
Right.
take them, and literally the rumor was they would move to Newport Beach, just pick them up, move them across to some other city, and then they'd pick them up, move them back to the other city.
Is that still happening? I mean, I
know.
read an article that they were still doing that. They were taking them to the Santa Ana
Just shuttling them around.
old
Yes,
bus station
so
there.
The theory is that they ended up on the riverbed here, which
Right.
is cuts across Orange County, that they ended up over there because...
And there's no clear jurisdiction kind of down there. I mean, is this a
Well, I
county
think
problem?
is
it
it
a
one
city
side
problem?
county and one side state?
I think they're saying
cities,
that it
it's
is
kind of a no
mainly
man's land.
county, but they're saying, well, we can't do anything about it because the appellate court has decided that we can only enforce laws and remove the homeless if we have enough beds. At least the city is saying that.
What do you mean have
So-
enough beds? Like have a location?
Someplace to put them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What do you
Can't round
do
'em up
with
if-
what do you do with a human being if you have no place to put them?
Well, it's not just, but correct me if I'm wrong here. I think I'm right in seeking this, but that it's not just they're out of a home. I mean, I'm sure there's a percentage that it's just like it's misfortune, but a lot of it has to do with drugs, alcohol, mental,
A lot
mental
of
illness.
mental disorders, a lot of drug abuse. Yeah, right.
It's a mix.
Yeah. So what do we do?
So Anaheim came up with a shelter where there were a lot of beds, and they were filled. And
Okay.
some of those people who worked there were able to reach out to the homeless and say, look, we're going to try to help you reconnect with your family, see if they'll take you back in, or we'll try to connect you with someone where you can get a job. And that worked for a good amount of individuals. So now the city is having a difficult time because they say, well, we provided the beds. Can we still not take the rest of the homeless who just don't even want the beds? They don't even want to go over there. Or every time we create a new shelter, if we fill them up, right, and there are no beds, then do we have to create another shelter to always appease this ruling?
Well, let me ask you a question. I mean, like,
Because everyone's then just going to encourage the homeless to come over to the riverbed, right?
So they
and
can
we'll
get a
have
free room- so
we'll
you can get
have a circular, endless issue of homeless coming in, homeless coming in, homeless coming in, and then now we have to spend millions and millions of dollars to build a shelter.
But isn't the county
every
building
single
one
time.
up in Fullerton? I thought the county's building one that's supposed to be a magnet that they can bring people. And again, these are shelters, so they're not supposed to be permanent residents. It's supposed to get you up on your feet, and that's the problem. A lot of
No,
these
transitional living.
people, right?
Yeah.
Transitional. My friend Anthony with he's in charge of the Salvation Army. He does
Another great group pushing all that.
they're
for you,
great. Yeah, and we just did a groundbreaking ceremony a few months back in Bell behind their facility. Groundbreaking, not a big, but they're building apartments, and to house I think it was 80, temporary homes for homeless veterans. And I think, but I understand, we're providing these homes, or that's kind of the goal and stuff like that. But what about doing mental services and offering creating some resources? I mean, we have all these these people that would help out and and want to,
because a lot of the homeless aren't transitioning out. They do have severe mental problems. They do have severe drug and alcohol problems. So you give them a temporary thing for a certain period of time, and then you kick them back out on the street again, and it's a never-ending problem. It doesn't go away.
Yeah, I mean, what's your opinion of that?
The legal side of it, or just mine?
Well, both. Let's hear both. Let's hear the legal, and then let's hear your opinion.
So you come across issues where who's going to fund it, number one, right?
Steve's got a lot of money. He can fund some of this here.
Yeah, there you go. Who says that they have the decision now to take control of an individual, right? What if they don't want to go?
Can't make them.
And that's one of the, sometimes we've had people come in and say, we go to try and help the homeless, and they run because they're out of their mind, or they're mentally unstable, or they're afraid of law enforcement, or whatever it is. And you're saying, come here, we're trying to help you. And they're like, they run, they hide, they don't welcome this.
Yeah, they've been on the street a long time.
So I went to a meeting, the mayor was there, and he said, look, the thing that is giving us problems is that appellate court decision. Then some police spoke, and they said, we're frustrated because we want to be able to enforce the laws and say no encampment, right? Because what gives them the right to now have a place to live where they've paid into nothing, right? They live for free.
Well, plus the sanitation. I mean, they're going to the bathroom.
Right, there's a lot of other issues.
There's no sanitation down there. There's no running water.
There, the people who have homes there are really frustrated because they have to go to work every single day and pay their mortgage and raise their children and do all these other things, and somebody all of a sudden gets rights to be there and it imposes on the area, right? So I saw all these families saying, my children, they walk to school. Now, I was privileged. I was driven in a very nice car to a private school. So I don't know that side of it, right? But children still want to walk to school.
Yeah.
And feel safe. And some of these homeless have syringes because they're doing drugs. So parents are concerned for their safety, right? But also they're concerned about property damage, because there was a woman who lives near me. She's not single, she's married. So both husband and wife were involved in this conversation. But she came up with a really interesting story, and I knew exactly which homeless individual she was speaking about, because I've seen this person over and over and over again. And it scared me, because I was driving home and I saw this woman walk across the street when I had a green light, just randomly, not even across the street, but across diagonally into an intersection at nighttime. If I wasn't paying attention, I could have hit this woman. And I thought, who on earth is this? And so I spoke with my neighbors, and they said, oh yeah, that's the such and such woman. They gave her a category of, the areas where she would hang out. They described the location.
So what do you do with that woman? You can't, if you put her in a bed, she's only going to stay there so long, and she'll be right back on the street doing this bizarre behavior again.
I don't know where she is now. Well, I haven't seen her in a while, but the woman's story was that this woman, because she's so well known to the area, came over to her home, that's just a few streets from me, rang her doorbell, sat on her bench on the
front
patio.
Porch? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, sat on the bench, urinated on it,
She's marking it.
cigarettes.
Marking
Yeah.
territory.
She's marking her territory. That's her bench.
Cigarettes and put the cigarette butts into the bench. The woman
Cool.
took the bench and threw it out because she thought, this is so unsanitary. I can't keep this bench. I don't think I can bleach it out or anything like that. So I thought, that's happening to people just a few streets away from me.
Well, I think that, my feeling is this. If you, I don't know, I think if they're mentally, like, totally, incapacitated or whatever you want to call it,
You were going to say fruitcake or bananas, but that's all right.
I'm trying to be politically. I think that it's, I think definitely that the county would have to take control and put them in a more controlled environment. And I'm not saying it's here. I mean, I'm saying, if the county got smart, they would, maybe buy something out in, another part of the state that's less expensive for real estate. I mean, you're down here in Orange County, which, is the most expensive real estate in California, pretty much, except for San Francisco. Actually, it's up there with San Francisco, but, and maybe have facilities up there and, maybe spend
But can you imagine
resources.
the cost? Look at what we're spending to incarcerate people. What if we created a new category of incarceration, or whatever you want to call it, permanent housing for people who were mentally unstable? I know like you say, they used to have all these kinds of, a million years ago, they called them insane asylums or whatever, where they put mentally ill patients. And the cost of that, so they literally cut those back and just put them back on the street. They weren't, particularly if they weren't violent.
Yeah.
And so we've got these people flocking, plus you've got a massive drug and problems, all the opioid problems and everything here. Plus you've got all the unemployment issues that are pushing otherwise stable people into unstable situations. And you just got these forces that keep driving this, and everybody's just round them up. I don't want them in my neighborhood. Put them somewhere.
Yeah. At one point I wondered, and I shared this idea with someone, is does it hurt or help them to be together in a group? Because if you think about it, if I had some issues, I would do better if I was around successful people that didn't have the same issues.
Well, group
right?
therapy,
Group therapy.
AA,
I mean, I think
all that. Yeah.
But you also want people
But it
around. It's like
encourages some bad behavior too at the same time, I think.
I think it's just like recovery. You want to be around. You're in a
Yeah.
recovery home with other addicts and with other people. And I think as
yeah, but you don't
want
want to be in a tent where the guy next to you has all the syringes and you're sort of struggling with the same issue, and all you have to do is walk to the next tent.
No. That I'm talking about. If you did a controlled environment, no, you'd have to live like they have over there at Senate. I did a thing on. I'm not bragging. I did a thing on Thanksgiving. We went there and handed out brand new clothes, and we fed people on Thanksgiving over there at the Santa Ana bus station. And I got a firsthand view because I was with a lot of city officials that we did in our group, and with Asian media, and they control it pretty well. I mean, they watch their stuff. They're controlled. They're locked in, and it's not like they don't have this open door policy where they're just like in and out. And they try to do the best that they can in an old bus station to try to help them out. And
but that's just one day. I mean, I applaud everybody for doing that, but then the problem's there the next day.
No, they can stay. They can stay longer. I believe they can stay. I think there's a time limit of like 2 or 3 months, but they have to be working with counselors. They have to be working if there's an addiction issue. They're working on that, and they're working on other things. I'm going to look further into that, and I think what I'll do is maybe bring one of those people in, and we can pick up that conversation at another time. One thing I wanted to talk about, changing subjects here, was my designer friend here. She has been.
Are we switching guests? She can't be a lawyer and a tutor and a designer.
Yes.
Come on.
Yeah, she's a designer. She has
I do it all.
She has been one of the biggest fans of the show, to be honest with you. One of my biggest supporters all the time doing it. She's like, "Oh, you look good." I'm like, "No, I didn't. I look terrible." But no, she was always good. But then she always sends me pictures of her designs and what she's doing. And so tell us, how did you get involved with the design aspect?
So I have always been to aesthetics. So anywhere I go, I appreciate, at a mall, I appreciate just the staircases, how things are built. And I almost think maybe I should have been an engineer. And I was in engineering classes at UCI, actually.
Really?
And computer science, so I was coding a little bit too.
So you're one of those brainiacs.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think so. You can do multitasking.
Yeah.
What do you design, or what types of things, what designs are you drawn to? You're talking about industrial designs? You're talking about architectural design? You're talking about
right
fashion
now,
design?
Right. I have been collecting a few gowns. I don't know if you've been seeing that on the internet
have.
too.
I
All the
have.
fancy things that I've
Yes,
been
I have.
collecting. Are you sick of it?
No, not at all. I do.
You're like, how does that tutor make so money?
No, it's
money?
you gotta have a passion, right? You gotta have what's your why? Your why is I like design, I like tutoring, I like
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
you're kind of you got a lot of stuff going on, which is cool.
Yeah. So if you left me in this office long enough, I would gut it and then redo it.
You know, Paul
It's
and I
a
were
lot.
Oh my
It's
God.
overwhelming.
You're hurting my feet.
I know, Paul.
No,
you know, Paul was
it's
telling
not
me
an
much effort.
insult. It's I wonder if it's a little bit of an obsessive, and I think that's what helps in being a
OCD?
lawyer.
I-
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Everything
I
needs to be
designed
lined
this, by
up
the
and
way.
labeled and
This is-
organized and
So Paul,
I-
does
I
he look a
did-
little disorganized? too?
perfect.
I
and-
designed this myself here.
You
Did you?
This reflects my brain and how I think. This
Yeah.
is exactly it.
This
He
would
is.
overwhelm me. I would probably be in here for about 15 minutes and think that I've failed and I don't know how to do everything.
I think you just.
Or
got-
it's all here. It's just
It's
a
all
giant.
here.
Yeah, it's just
Paul-
like a giant.
One step at a time.
You could ask one thing about Paul. I could ask him, like, "Hey, I'm hungry." He goes, "Oh, well, right over here to the right, we have cashy bars and
everything,
trail
yeah.
mix, and oh, you want soup? We have soup too." And
That's funny.
got alcohol over here. We got everything.
nice.
So if you want me to take over your home and design it,
No,
I'll do that,
no,
'cause
no.
I'm afraid it looks like that.
You know, it's funny. Every radio station when I did this, because it's a very small space and it is very cluttered, and there's lots of stuff all over the wall, which is the way I like it. That's the way my home office was, and that's the way I do like things. And I thought people would find that claustrophobic. But this is truthfully the way every radio station I ever worked in looks like. Radio stations just filled with crap all over the walls.
Wow.
And it's a collection of stuff. So it
And
does
you
have
still
this.
get things done?
Oh yeah.
You
To
know-
me, it's very organized because I know where everything is.
You do.
It's
We've
very.
had-
It looks chaotic, but it's very organized
Well,
actually.
Paul's good too because we packed 4 people in here last 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That is impressive.
We did. We literally we had stools and everything. and
Every square inch is used. in
every
this
square inch
space,
is used.
yes.
Yeah, if you look around, it really is.
I know it's a little overwhelming, but
No,
Yeah.
it's all good.
But see, what you could do is get floor-to-ceiling cabinets, use every square inch, but it's tucked away neatly.
Oh, I
is
don't like that.
What I would do.
I don't like that.
So that's what I did in my home, actually. I ended up with
Okay.
a glass staircase. So I never want to do the norm. I have that problem in life, I think. And
A
so,
glass staircase.
yeah. So, I
Does
got
that make
the
it tough to
stair
go on?
railing.
Does that make it tough to go on dates because you don't like the norm guys? You like guys that are very different and unique and all
Yeah,
that. So the
yeah.
qualification, the bar is way up here.
It's so high.
Yeah.
I have just maybe under 5 people who I've taken seriously in my lifetime, over 36 years.
Wow.
And I feel a little bad for those guys.
Wow.
How long did they last? How long did each one last? Did they?
Oh, do we want to go there?
No.
I've called off 2 weddings.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fun, right?
Yeah. I mean, was
For
it
design issues or no? Right.
was it at the altar?
He didn't clean up his clothes.
Did you leave him at the altar or
No,
did you leave him?
surprisingly, I think what happens is that I'm such a perfectionist that I sometimes feel like everyone else fails me, so then I have to do everything myself. And then at some point it gets draining where I think, what is this guy around for? Right?
What do I need
Wow.
him
It's
for?
like he starts relying on me for everything is what's happening.
So you ruin his self-worth by
he wants to like live off of me, and then I make the money, and then I design everything, I do everything by hand, and then
Do you wear the
everything's
tool
perfect.
belt? Do you wear the tool belt too?
I have that too. I do.
You do? Is that a requirement? The guy has to be able to wear a tool belt and know how to use it?
Are you trying to apply?
That's what it sounded like.
You know, it's funny
Sounded
because
like.
I used to put my tool belt on. I did one for a photo shoot, and my guys walked up to me and they were like, "Really, dude?" I'm like, "What?" They're like, "Dude, that thing's brand new, and
You've never used
is
it.
that hammer wired in?" I'm like, "No." And it actually was kind of. I used it for a photo shoot, so I did have it kind of stuck in there, kind of good. But I'm like, "No, I actually use this." And they're like, "No, you don't." I'm like, "No, I really do." I actually haven't. I actually took off my belts like 7-8 years ago. And I just more of a use my mind.
Haven't
you
put them
know.
on since.
There you go.
Well, for photo shoot, I take that back for the photo shoot. I got it. I'm doing a photo shoot tomorrow, so I'll.
For the tool belt?
Well, yeah, I got it. Actually invited for Orange 20 of what is it? One of 20 Orange County's 20th something entrepreneurs. 20 most popular entrepreneurs of Orange County.
20
so.
coolest guys.
Yeah, 20 coolest guys. There you go.
I feel
not gonna worry about-
special to know you.
I know you should. I set the bar high.
Yeah.
So I still don't know what you designed.
Yeah, so talk about- you did the staircase. So
designed.
What we
Let's
did
talk
is
about
we
this.
took out the wrought iron railing. So most people have wrought iron or they have wood, right?
like handrails?
Yep.
Or the steps themselves?
No, we kept the wood steps, took out the railings, put in glass. So I have 3 panels. And even that in and of itself, you try to figure out how do you cut it, how do you design it so that it fits in there. And it's custom, right?
Yeah.
So then you curve around up my stairs, and now we have a railing issue. Legally, right? For anyone to come into my home.
You have to sign a waiver.
Yeah,
It's scary. Like, I'm fine. I trust myself with things, right? I'll climb over
you mean at
a
the
bunch
end,
of projects.
it
There's
doesn't,
no rail, you fall off or something?
So, well, for a while, actually, the railing, all of the railings were out. So,
so that was a trick in the morning.
Yeah.
Coming down to getting your coffee, you were kind of like, ooh.
Or having
On glass,
elderly try to come upstairs, right? And I'm the lawyer, issue spotting. Oh my gosh. I hope nobody falls
bad
down.
bifocals. You take the wrong step and you're right off the rail.
Yeah.
You send them that DocuSign thing that they can sign electronically. By the way, as you're walking, can you please sign this DocuSign?
Yes, exactly. That's what I think about that way too often. But anyways, I'm trying to get over this and think, okay, well, they're my friends, and I'll keep warning them as they go up every single stair. And
They're my friends. I'll let them come over.
Yeah. I love you. So I got glass. I had the railing installed. And then even internally within the staircase, I still needed a railing because now we're dealing with 2 walls, right? So you can view the glass as a railing. You can put your hand on that. But once you get into the walls, it's like, what are you going to do? Do the walls constitute the ability for someone to claim that they were able to hang on to something?
Oh my God! You're going through your whole house looking for torts. You're looking for fallen slip claims or something.
It's obsessive. So now you know why I wrote the law school exams. Actually, I'm not just the tutor. I wrote the law school exams where I put nuance rules in there, majority minority split, everything. And California is the area where the top lawyers come from because we're held to a higher standard with the California State Bar, right?
Yeah.
We were held to know all those nuance rules.
It's supposed to be one of the tougher bars in the whole country here.
The toughest.
That's what I heard.
It's
I've heard
number
that.
1, and New York is number 2. Back to my staircase. I needed a railing, and I thought, well, what do I do? Let's brainstorm. And my head kind of explodes, and I'm thinking, okay, 10 different elements maybe.
You should just call Steve. He would have figured it out.
She did. She did.
Okay.
Did you come up with this one? Mine was, I have an issue. I think I want glass. I want it to somehow go along with the rest of the glass. Do I want a glass railing? Like, that seems strange, right? Could it break?
Well, even if it's open, I could understand it. It's safety glass, so you're going to,
So I got a quote on it, and it was expensive. And I thought, for that amount of effort and that size, I want to put the money somewhere else. I went with acrylic.
Oh, nice.
And so that's kind of the brainstorming that I do is I think, don't just think one way. Try to think outside of the box of what you can do with your home. You can end up having a phenomenal piece of lighting that you could basically make probably from going to TJ Maxx, get those vases, drill in it. You end up with one of those chuhili?
You're looking at me. You've seen how I decorate.
I am a designer, but I don't know
the
that.
The guy who charges thousands and thousands of dollars for the hand-blown glass pieces.
The glass pieces.
And he's in Vegas. They decorated the Bellagio. He has museums, and you could have a very luxe, high-end home that looks like the top designer designed it.
Right.
You just took elements and ideas and put it together. And that was my goal is, how do I make it look super luxe without costing $1 million?
Well, we got 5 minutes left, so I'm guessing you don't have any glass ceilings in your house because you've obviously broken through a bunch of glass ceilings here.
I have. I like that.
You're doing lots of different things here. So what's the takeaway here, Steve? What's the...
Hire me for everything.
I know, right? Yeah, you guys, I'm telling you, my listeners here, you guys, here you go. You've got, this beautiful woman here who can not only be your lawyer, help you through law school, be your lawyer, design your house, and she's looking for a few good men.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, we need to...
but she's very selective.
Very selective, guys.
Selective.
Yeah,
this is going to be...
they have been lawyers in the past. I tend to date myself is the problem.
That's okay. You can take yourself out. You can date yourself, and then...
I do. I started doing that. I don't know if you saw my social media, but I'm by myself with the most magnificent sushi up in Malibu, and then Dallas, and...
There you go. You don't need a man, right?
No, just talking to strangers at the bar.
So I noticed your dad is very involved in your life, and your dad's amazing, by the way.
It's hard to date with him around.
I know your dad's quite the handyman. I know you've called me for guys like, hey, can you send over?
And then I'm like, never mind, my dad's here.
Oh my gosh, I got to tell you one thing. I sent over a guy from the old Cornerstone. I gave her a number, and this guy that used to work for us, and he
to help or to
well, yeah, because she wanted to get
Not to
a
date.
piano.
I thought it sounded like
No, a piano.
I need a guy.
No, a piano to get refinished. And he was so rude. He wrote back. He goes, "The only Steve Cederquist I know is dead."
Oh,
and
yeah,
I was
that
like,
a funny text.
"Wow, I guess you didn't like me."
You
know?
recommended a guy, and that's how you responded? Oh, my
Yeah,
goodness.
I sold the company, and a lot of the, it got a little ugly and bitter towards the end there, and it's probably still a little ugly and bitter, but
So I wrote
it
him
is
back.
what it is.
I sent it over to him, and I said, what's going on with your friends? Do you have any nice friends who aren't?
Apparently, I don't have any ex-employee friends. I don't have it. I have nice friends. You saw me.
But I'm it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
The nicest one out
Yes,
there.
I was all encouraged, but I came right now. I'm all depressed, and I'm ready to go home and hang my head. I'm just kidding. Well, listen, I really appreciate you coming in. And
Yes,
how?
thank you for having me.
Let me ask a question. How can people get a hold of you?
Oh, that is
You
a
can't.
good question.
You can't.
I don't
That's
even
the-
have
that's the problem.
I don't have the office number memorized.
Well, what about
Website.
what
I'm
about
not
social
gonna release
media?
my cell phone number, right?
what about
Wouldn't that
so-
be great?
Yeah. What about social media? How do they get a hold of you?
So usually you find me at the Law School Tutor website. So that's law-school-tutor.com. Also bar-exam-tutor.
She said, hire me for everything, but she doesn't even know how to get hired here. She,
I know, right?
No, that's how they find me. Is usually by keyword searches.
Is there anything else they can? I mean, how about on your anything else? Twitter? What?
Yeah.
Do you, Twitter,
I don't really use that.
Instagram.
Facebook, I use a lot.
Okay, how
A
do
lot
they
of
find you on Facebook?
First and last name, Christina Ignatius,
And how-
Christina.
How do you spell your last name?
It is tricky. That's where people butcher. Ignatius.
and we did look up St. Ignatius. There were several of them. And the one most people think of is St. Ignatius of Loyola.
Yes.
That's where they get Loyola University and all the Loyola schools.
And
everything.
if you're the law school tutor who has physically been on over 100 law school campuses nationwide
Wow.
in a year,
Wow.
that was a blur.
That is.
You will find out that there are several Loyola law schools, and I found that out.
And
Just
St.
by-
Ignatius of Loyola also founded the Jesuits, the famous Jesuits. So that's
Yeah.
why.
Wow. Well, I really appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Sounds like
and
you're a Jesuit. Maybe you could be a Jesuits are supposed to be the most learned people in the church here.
Yeah.
That's true. It's true.
Do you know what family I came from too?
What family?
No.
Very, very, very religious based, right? So it reminds me of that Big Short movie where he says, I was one of those guys who tried to find the discrepancies in the Word of God. I came from that family.
Wow.
So very educational. Go to the books, find out what it says, challenge it, and then be of service to other people.
Nice.
The end.
So that.
The end.
So remember that, guys. When you fill out the
application.
criteria and application here, you're going to have to go through to meet the family.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
When you go on Match.com, you got to really make a match here.
Yeah.
And my dad doesn't grill people. It's just such a shame because I don't have that kind of guy that would actually do that. My dad
Steve
is
will
so
do that for
nice.
you.
I'll do that for you. We'll run him through the gamut. We'll bring him in here and we'll interview him.
We'll put them on the show.
There you go.
Okay.
Well, we'll quiz, and then we'll have people vote. It would be like a crowdsourcing thing. They'll decide whether or not you should go out with them or not.
Yeah, we'll do that. People can vote online. They can do like they do on Dancing. What is Dancing with the Stars?
With the Stars, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I have had some people nominate me for The Bachelorette.
Dancing with
Nice.
Christina.
You should do it.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
You should do it. My niece is going to be on The Bachelorette.
I'm a little afraid.
Is she really? Oh, my goodness. Well,
Yeah.
bring her in. I'd love to meet
Ashley?
anybody who's
Yeah.
actually
Wait,
going to go on
didn't
there.
your niece date somebody who I tutored?
I think so. Yes.
Did that end?
Yes. Yes.
No.
Badly.
No.
Yes, that's true. Yep.
It is a small world. Christina
is a
has
small world.
tutored way too many people.
All right. Well, so, Steve, how do they reach you if they want to get more information about it? If they just want to keep up with you, if they just want to try and keep up with this fast-paced, jet-set life that you're living here.
Facebook, Steve Cederquist, or you can go to my the public figure page, which is The Real Steve Cederquist, or Steve Cederquist Designs.
And spell Cederquist. You were talking about Ignatius. How many different ways do people spell Cederquist?
It's Cederquist, or you can find me at stevecederquistdesigns.com.
CEDER.
ER.
That's
Not
right.
AR.
Nope.
I always want to put an A in it. I don't know why. I was like,
You guys are thinking the tree.
I'm thinking the tree, exactly.
Yeah.
Here. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to bend but not break, and we'll be back in a couple weeks with more. That's a wrap.
Cut. That's a wrap.